Alright, so here's a little missing segment out of my UVing a character video. I realized that I had left out the part of after we make all of the UVs in Photoshop, then we export the UV map into Photoshop, and we set it up so that we can paint in Photoshop, and then we can put it right onto our character. So this is only one way of doing it. You have to think about the seams of everything when you're working like this, unless of course you're working in Substance Painter, in which you're not really worrying about the seams and you're just painting stuff in Substance Painter. So it's Substance Painter is used quite a lot in the industry. When I was in-house in game companies, we weren't using it, but it's used quite a lot now in-house. So here's this little character. He's kind of a 80s punker character. I'm going to look at the UVs, and let's turn it on there. And I have it set up just like this. So the first step that we're going to do is we're going to select all of the UV shells. Go into UV shell mode, select all the UV shells, and then we're going to go to Image UV Snapshot. So the settings for this, you want to change the image format to PNG. You want to change this edge color to a horrible green color. And then 2048 is a pretty good one. Just a base kind of thing. You probably, if you want anything more detailed, you're going to want to go to 4K or 8K. But just for this example and this little character, I'm just going to keep it at 2K. So then you choose the output location and wait for the save dialog to come up and put it up on the desktop. All right. All right, so now in the save dialog, we're going to put here, let's see, punk underscore UVs. And then remember, do not put the extension because Maya will have a problem with it. So just punk underscore UVs, and that's there. Then we click apply and close, and it will export them. And you'll know that it's successful if you see saved file, and then it shows the success little text. Then let's go into Photoshop, and let's look for it. And punkuvs.png. I open that up in Photoshop. Now it barely looks like it's there, but it is. If we zoom in, we can see that it's there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on the name, and I'm going to change this to UVs. I'm going to add a new layer. I'm going to put it underneath the UV layer just by clicking and dragging. Double click on that layer name to change it, and I'm going to call it background. Then I'm going to fill the background with white, or I can fill it with black. Let's fill it with black. So I press Shift F5 and make sure that the background is selected. I go to the background, those contents, and I click on black, and I say OK. And now you can see a lot of the our textures here. So obviously this is the guy's face, this is his neck, these are the little epaulets or the little spikes on his shoulder. This right here is his hair, these are his eyes. This is the top of his shoes, the bottom of his shoes. This is his belt. This is left pants, right pants. This is the front of his jacket, the back of his jacket, and these are his shoulders. So we're going to make it super, super simple. And the reason I know this is because I laid it out in a way that it's kind of makes it obvious, and he's also a rather simple character. So let's look and just make sure everything's good with this guy. So anything else to think about? We have the belt. So I'm going to probably make like the shirt like just a t-shirt kind of thing. and just everything else just a really base color, and make his jacket black, and the boots, the pants. I don't know what these guys are. I'm gonna click on those and find out what it is. Okay, so that's a part of that, so it's just a regular part of the pants. Alright, so we go into Photoshop, and now when you're making the art, you want to put a new layer in the middle of it, and that's just going to be like your diffuse color. So I'm just going to say art for now, and save this out as punkuvs.psd. And before we do on any of the art, let's show what happens when we apply it to the character. So I've saved it. We go into Maya, and first thing we want to do is we go into Windows, we go into Settings, Preferences, and then we go down to Files, Projects. We scroll all the way down, and then where it says Image Files, we put a check mark next to Automatically Reload Updated Image Files. Click Save, and what's great about this is that whenever you make a change in Photoshop, you'll see it in your Maya file. So we can start out with a PSD because we're working on it currently, and then at the end we can change it to just a simple like a PNG, a JPEG, or a TGA, whichever you prefer. So first off, oh yes, there we go. So then we're going to go into our Hypershade, and I have Punk Text 3 here, Input App Connections, it's right here. Then I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. We add a, close that off, there we go. We add a file node, file. So I had clicked over here, I had clicked on this thing, which now has a node. And then to change the name of the file, in this file node, I go to the little icon over here next to image name. And this is just a regular Lambert, by the way. And I find the file, and I find punkuvs.png, and there we go, we have that. So Lambert Punk 3, and then I select this guy, and I right click on here, and I apply assign material to selection. So now if I press 6, you can see that we have the texture applied. So amusingly, this is not the wireframe that is in Maya, but it's rather the wireframe that is in Photoshop. So we can see some things are a little stretched. The nose is a little stretched, but you know, this is going to be a simple texture. And if you want to see how all of these UVs were displayed, then just have to see my other video about UVing a character in Maya. Alright, so we have him displayed there. Let's go to Photoshop. We're going to do some really simple stuff. Let's see. And the basic, and I have a Cintiq, so I'm able to draw on it. You can do this if it's very simple. You can do it with a mouse, but I highly suggest you get some kind of a tablet. It doesn't have to have a monitor in it, but just as long as you have some kind of a tablet, it makes it a lot easier. In every game company that I've been in, I've always had 2 monitors and a little tablet in order to be able to draw. The 2 monitors thing was just, I mean, you've got to have 2 monitors. So I'll probably make it about that size. I press B for brush, and that's this little guy over here. And then I'm going to choose, let's see, let's choose a kind of a, let's choose kind of a blackish color, and we're going to paint the jacket. So you can go a little bit outside of the lines. You should go a little bit outside the lines in case it goes out. It picks it up. It may pick up just a tiny bit. Doesn't have to be too terribly fancy. And now I think some of this obviously some of this part over here is the jacket. So I'm going to have to figure out which ones are which with that and draw it accordingly. And this could probably be darker, but just for the example, I'm going to do it this way. And I may speed this up in order to make it go by a little faster. All right, so we have that for the jacket. Now let's look at what happens when I save it. So I click save, I go back into Maya, it loads it up, and we can see there's just a little bit of faint change in the jacket. Oh, there's a little spot there. And the collar is not colored. The jacket and the shirt are painted, so that's not exactly what we want. Let's go back to Photoshop and let's do his hair. So I'm going to give him kind of a some punker, like dyed blonde hair here. So I'll make it a little bit yellow. We'll save that. We'll go in here and check it out. And there we have some funny looking hair. And let's give him just a generic kind of skin tone. The person that I patterned this after was an Italian photography student that was a roommate of mine when I was a little kid. We rented out some of the extra rooms to photography students in California, and he dressed like this. It was pretty funny, and his last name was Pascalini. And let's also give the hands also here. All right, and let's see how that looks. Oh, I forgot to save it. Save. There we go. And so we're on the way. I'll pause it for a sec. All right, and let's do some more. So let's presume that this the pants are kind of a we'll give it kind of a tan, like a dark tan color, and about like that. Just paint these guys in. Now I think if I went and UV'd this again, I'd probably probably would have separated the shirt so I'd know which one is which. That looks good, and we'll save that. Go back into Maya. Let me see, we have some pants, and I don't remember what this thing is over here. So we'll go into UV shell. We'll click on that. Ah, it's the collar. So if it's the collar, we want it to be the same color as this. So an easy way to grab the colors is in the brush. You just hold down Alt, and it samples that color. And we go back in and we paint it. Now the little spiky epaulette things, those were kind of a silvery color, so I'm going to make it kind of a brighter gray and just paint these. So I'm just doing this super fast. You can put any amount of detail that you want in it. Beware of your seams, because your seams will show when you're doing this. Unless, of course, like I said, you're using Substance Painter in which your seams don't show or won't show. And let's check them out. They're little spiky things. And let's make some boots. Let's give them some red Doc Martens. So we'll do a red color. That like so. Apparently punkers don't like to be called punkers, but you know, if they're still dressing like this, then I say that they brought it upon themselves. And we'll look at this, and then we'll do the soles of his shoes with like kind of a tan color. And then his eyes are going to be white, except for the pupils, of course, which we'll work on those in a sec. And then his belt, let's give him, for some reason I think a blue belt would be funny. Alright, so we have all the little pieces there, painted temporarily. We'll go in, we'll check it out. So we do want to change the buckle so that it's a different color. Let's find out where all the pieces of the buckle fit in here. So I'm going to went into regular poly mode. I'm just doing this so I can see where they are in the UV map. You can also press F in the UV editor just to focus on what it is you want to look at. All right, so that's how it looks in Photoshop. Let's go in here. So I think the color would probably, I'll do a little bit of a silvery kind of color. And now the thing about having a different UV map, for one thing, as opposed to another, it gives you a much more defined edge. So if I make these edges over here, you're going to definitely see that it's a texture. So if you want to have a really hard edge on kind of a lower polygon object, it's kind of a good idea to make it a different UV map. And I don't mean make a different texture, but just another one, a UV shell. And I'm increasing the size of this by pressing the bracket arrow, the brackets, and that will increase or decrease the size. Alright, and we'll zoom out, we'll save it, go back into Maya, and go back into subdiv mode. So there we go, now we have his little belt, and you can see over here that it's a little bit fuzzy. So if I go into Maya and I want to get rid of the UVs, I just uncheck the UV layer and I save it. Go back into Maya, and here we have the temporary guy. So I'm going to change the shirt and the eyes. Sorry about that jump scare. That was a little 2-year-old. He's probably going to make more noise, so be prepared. All right, let's make the shirt. And for the shirt,
let's make it shirt in a ball.
Yeah, you think I should put a ball on the shirt? Is that what you're saying, Rowan?
Yes.
All right, I will put a ball on the shirt.
Hey, Rowan.
What?
I got your crackers.
Oh, go see Mommy. She has crackers. And they're the crunchy kind.
You're gonna have to catch me.
And so I'm just doing this again so I can see what the all of the faces for the shirt. And that looks, oops, we have that. And then let's look at what it looks like here. I should probably
Your mommy. Now it's my turn. You gotta catch me.
let's actually instead let's select these edges, and this should make it a lot easier. And if I cut these edges, I should be able to see which ones are which. good. Then I'll go and I will cut those seams. So if I look at it, it looks like right there. So I might just, for the hell of it, take another UV snapshot now that I made that cut. But I want to select all of the UV shells first and then export it. And we'll do Punk UVs 2 and apply and close. Go back into Photoshop and let's open. Nope, we don't want to open. Yeah, let's open it. Open it and Punk UVs 2 and open. And then I'm gonna just press Control A and Control C and go back into this one and paste it. But it's a little bit off, so I'm going to, this is our new one. I click on that, I hold down Control, and wrong one. Click on this. So that's a weird thing about Photoshop lately. Is it doesn't, now I'm holding down Control and the arrow keys. So for some reason I wasn't able to just move it. And oh, look at that! It didn't even. Okay, now we have a jump scare with the dogs. So that was not anything functional here. Let's go back to art and let's give him a red shirt. So we'll go over here and we'll choose Alt. I held down Alt and I clicked on a button in order to sample the shoes. And I'm pretty sure that this is where the shirt is. We may have to go in and adjust it a little bit. I think it went around here. You may also get a different set of UVs if you have your subdivs on when you take the UV snapshot. I'm not 100% sure, but that may be the case. Let's go back and see. So it was those lower ones over there. Go back to Photoshop. Press Control S to save, and then we'll go in here and see how our shirt looks. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good, you know, for a temporary kind of thing. So I'm going to add on it a little image from Jonan Vasquez with the smiley face. And let's put this, yeah. So I'm gonna, if I switch, notice if you press D, you'll get black on the foreground and white in the background. If you press X, it'll reverse it. So that's a handy little tool to have. And then I'll reverse that. I'm going to make it smaller. Now I'll take this guy, and since he's on his own layer, if I select that and I move it to the right with control and the right arrow, the lasso will just go right around that little object. Then I can press Control X and I can cut it, and then I want to paste it inside of this area. So this is a little Photoshop trick. If you use the lasso but you use the polygonal lasso, so if you hold on there and you go down to the second one, you'll get the polygonal lasso. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I'm just going to mark out some areas over here where I want to paste him in. And close that off. I'm just going to create another layer just for this little image. And so I have him in the clipboard. I'm going to go to Edit, Paste Special, Paste Into, and now I have him pasted right inside, so it looks like it's on his shirt. So let's turn this off and save it. Oh, look, we have some little issues. I'm going to put that on that one. Any other issues? All right. Go back into Maya. And you can see that there's a little bit of stretching going on here with the little circle on there, but this is just a temporary little, oh, and we forgot the eyes. Just a temporary little texture. Let's do the eyes. So the eyes, I think, they could be rather big. We're gonna give him some brown eyes. I think the Pasqualini guy had brown eyes. Or he could have had blue. It depends on what location of Italy he came from. My family came from a section where they had brown eyes, and we'll give kind of some brown eyes there. I'm going to put it on another layer, and then we'll give him a black pupil. Press D in order to do that. And very, very simple. So I'm not trying too hard with this one. And save it, and let's go back and look at him. And there's our little punker dude. So I hope this has been helpful to see how to really simply go in and paint something. It's super easy when you follow this workflow. If you're to add some extra stuff to this, one of the things you could do is you could paint some. You can paint a little bit of hair on here. It's a very cartoony style, so things are going to stay pretty solid. You can do some shadows, you could do some highlights, things like that. You could paint some laces on the boots, obviously, and you could do some stuff underneath. Yeah, that's basically how you do it, and I hope it helps you. Thanks for watching.